Hi there, I'm Matt Keene. Welcome to Creating a Future We Want, the Evaluative Evolution series. My mother is a very talented musician. She lived much of her life as art. Her art was as a choral conductor, a vocalist, and basically a leader of people, of groups of people learning wonderful music. One of the pieces that she brought to her choirs every few years was a piece called Stopping by Woods. I believe the complete title of Robert Frost's poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening or Eve. Um, Everything about this, the rehearsals, the performances, the learning, the holding the music, the being beside another um, person learning an art, sharing, expressing their art. Everything about it was this iterative entangling of our feelings, of sounds, of the textures in the atmosphere around us. These, I think of these times that we had as in those rehearsals, in those performances, learning that music as some of the best of those years of youth. Some of the best of that time in a life was a part of those experiences with that music. Hearing those sounds of 60 people coming together, of 10 people coming together to create art that was about nature, about choice, about comfort, about duty, about beauty. Easy words, speaking from Frost, from Frost to our souls, about the souls, about our most precious values. Now, my mom welcomed everyone in the school. I mean, she'd literally be in the halls, like trying to convince people, join choir, join choir. She was, in this case, teaching choir at a high school. She conducted many other choirs as well, and she'd drag people in. Other people, of course, were begging to be a part of more choirs and do more things with her. But all of this was about introducing these young people to these most precious values through this music, through this art form. It's about the transferring and the transformation of energy into those values that if we pay attention, if we kept them, and we have no choice really, they are in us after those sorts of experiences. These are the values that open up, lead us, give us paths to our identities, our self-awareness, pathways to the wisdom that we might enjoy if we follow those paths. A few days ago, I was listening to a podcast with Stephen Wolfram. Sounds like a brilliant dude. It'd be easy to listen to some of what he was talking about and quickly think, I have no idea what is happening here. But no, I try to stay in it, and see how it would go. Well, he talked about computational irreducibility, and as I was hearing him talk about it, I couldn't help but think that this is about the incompressibility of reality, which I discussed in a few previous essays and videos. The idea that reality is, and all that we do is we take things out of it so that we can or ignore or are not able to sense or perceive much of reality so that we can exist, thrive and flourish. We don't need all of it. So computational irreducibility cannot reduce the total computations in the mathematician's a quantitative perspective on reality. You cannot reduce the computations of reality and still have reality. And then he talked about the bounded observer, and I couldn't help but think that this was about something that I discussed in recent essays and videos called, or that was referred to as, our inevitable partiality of our perspective. In other words, whatever perspective we have on anything is inevitably partial. We only can know what we can know. We've only seen, experienced, and perceived what we have, and everyone has perceived reality in their own way, some more similar or differently than others. Then he mentioned a thing called the Ruliad. Now, whoa, this really got my attention. This was not a concept that I had been exposed to before, but another piece of work that I'm working on called the Principle of Infinite Ignorance and Infinite Abundance is, I think, very much related to the Ruliad, which he described as the entangled limits of everything that is computationally possible. Now, he talked about it in terms of it encompasses all formal possibilities. And here we can think about it, as I understood it, that our experience is our experience as a person is like a sampling of a little tiny bit of the Ruliad. That is what our perception is. You know, our experience, our perception is a sampling of the entangled limit of every possible path that could be traversed, computationally traversed in reality. Now, I'm going to have to do a whole lot more investigation of this to truly understand it, if that's even possible. But I think it's going to be worthwhile because it is very much related to some of the other pathways that I am on at the moment. Now, here I am in the garden, and what does all of this have to do with the garden? Well, I think of the garden as sort of this very faint, barely there whispering from a thread inside the pocket of the Ruliad. You know, it's just this one little sampling of perception of reality. Now, like in Frost's poems, another The Road Not Taken, very famous, and Stopping by Woods, the garden has two paths. It presents two paths. The one that is here and one that isn't. Now, that's not two, of course, that is in infinitude. At any point, a choice was made and a thing was created, and another choice could have been made. Maybe an infinitude of choices could have been made. Actions could have been taken that were not, right? And this is beginning to, I think, relate to this concept of the Ruliad. Now, what's amazing about this and what's so wonderful is, yes, this is the set of choices and actions that were taken, and we have this reality now, right? And then the other path of those infinitude of other actions and choices that were not pursued, that is both, you know, our ignorance of what reality would be amongst that infinitude, in the wholeness of this little sampling of the Ruliad that we did not traverse. It is also our infinite abundance, in that all of that was not chosen, maybe those pathways are not an option to us, but we still have an infinitude of choices in front of us. From every moment we might take another pathway that offers opportunity, the optionality for abundance. I'm Matt Keene. Thanks for visiting Creating a Future We Want, the Evaluative Evolution series.